So, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, I thought we play a little game as we're ending our time of 2024. Actually, this was supposed to come out New Year's Eve, but we had technical difficulties on New Year's Eve, and we weren't able to do so. So we had to pass it on to today to get our predictions out for 2025. Now, usually I'm not good with predictions. Usually I don't do any of this stuff because I just don't want to. I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to be that kind of person that bloats out something that I hope doesn't happen, but does end up happening, or vice versa. But I've seen a lot more people do this. I've seen a lot more commentators trying to do this, and it kind of seems fun. So I thought maybe I'll do my, top 10 2025 predictions. So here's just a little montage here that I put together on some of the predictions that I've had. So starting off with number 10, Canadian troops getting pushed into battle in Ukraine. This, I kind of feel like, is a possibility, sadly, unfortunately. We know that more and more Canadians are awakened to the fact of this scam. We know that a lot more people see openly that this was definitely a PSYOP war. This is definitely a manufactured proxy war from the get-go. This did not start on February 2022. This happened back in 2014 under Barack Obama and Victoria Nuland and all those individuals, all those cretinces that want to get involved with the war in Russia to balkanize Ukraine, to balkanize Russia, and sell it off to BlackRock and Vanguard. I think people are awake to that. But, especially here in Canada, especially when you have big key contributors like Chrystia Freeland, who, given her family history, have deep connections to a war like this, I have a hunch that there's a possibility. And considering the fact that, we're buddy-buddy with cokehead Zelensky, and we know that Zelensky is running out of people in Ukraine. There are over 1 million people dead of active soldiers, and the average age for people fighting in that war right now is upwards to 55 and older. So they're desperate for new recruitments, and I just have this feeling that Canada's going to get themselves in a slimy, ugly situation with that if they don't back out soon, which they haven't. They've already committed not only to the NATO asking what they want, but also doubling and tripling the amount over to NATO. So, number 9, Kathy Kennedy gets fired from Disney. Kathy Kennedy, I think people are aware who this woman is. She is the notorious figurehead Disney that kind of turned the company on its head, got away from the traditional kind of, simplistic family genre, the Disney that, our generation grew up with, and turn it into some sort of crazy ex-girlfriend rebellion. I guess that's the best way to put it. Where everything's kind of like anti-male, woke power, and every lead's got to have some sort of sexually fluid side story to it. It's just gone far off the brink. I think it's wrecking the Disney brand. People are starting to get away more and more from the Disney brand, and if they really want to maintain this power structure of being that family entertainment, they're going to have to, as much as, they would probably still want to support Kathy Kennedy for some sort of DEI magical reason. I don't know if BlackRock supports her or not. But I have a feeling that if they're going to maintain any specter in Hollywood, they're going to have to tighten their belts and make decisions. So that's a possibility there. Again, this is just a game. I'm not good at predictions, so we'll see what happens. Number 8, a massive overhaul at CBC and media corporations in Canada. Now, this is kind of already happening. So it's not really a 2025 prediction. It's just a prediction that's already coming true. I mean, we are seeing the kind of downplay of Bell Media, how they're trying to, now that they've engulfed in so much debt, now they've been investigated for, all this money that they gotten from the government, the kickbacks, the settlements from the Trudeau camp that was supposed to go towards the workers of CBC and CTV and Global and all these other outlets going towards the top CEOs, going to the stakeholders, the corruption of Catherine Tate, who was the CBC CEO. I have a feeling that there's going to be some big, giant, massive overhaul of these media corporations as time goes on, as their viewership still continues to plummet. And if they want to have some sort of saving grace, because many Canadians are just fed up with it, they're fed up with the entire structure, especially with the CBC. I don't think there's going to be a defunding process in this, but I think the fact that, you're sending billions of dollars to this corporation, to the state broadcaster, that's also getting advertising dollars from private entities, and they're producing content that goes against the majority of Canadians. I don't think that's going to be a sustainable model going forward with this. So I could see definitely a huge, major overhaul, restructuring phase. I don't know what will happen in regards to that. There's already some factions being played out, like, again, with Bell Media. They're already losing stuff and assets and selling off radio stations. We're seeing that with Chorus Entertainment, possibly going to file bankruptcy. So it's already starting to come true, but I think there's going to be more of that in 2025. That's just a prediction of mine. Number 7, Chrystia Freeland runs for the Liberal Party leader. Something I hope that doesn't come true, but more than likely, with all the other World Economic Forum, holders within the Liberal campus, once Trudeau gets out, once they kick him out of being part of the Liberal Party, just wrecking the entire brand, I have this gut feeling, because they're still holding on to Chrystia Freeland, even though that Chrystia Freeland is part of this mayhem. She is part of the mess. She is part of the debacle that really just destroyed Canada. I have a feeling that they're just going to find a way to swindle her over to campaigning to run for the leader of the Liberal Party once Justin Trudeau's done. Because she's nice with the billionaire class. And whatever's nice for the billionaire class definitely is approved right away, even though she's against majority of Canadians. So that's something that I don't wish would happen. I don't want this to happen, but that's just a prediction that might come true, sadly. Just the age that we live in. Number 6. I don't think this is kind of a surprise to people. Pierre Poilievre, the Conservatives, winning a landslide in this upcoming election, in October 2025 election, that we know of. We don't know exactly when this election is going to happen, but judging from data, judging from just how much anger, distrust, and betrayal there's been with the Liberal Party, with the NDP siding with the Liberal Party, I think this is going to be a huge jump victory for the Conservative Party, for the Conservative brand, especially having Pierre Poilievre as being the, forefront of that. I don't know what's going to happen with other parties. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the Bloc Québécois get a huge jump, bypassing Liberals and the NDP. I don't know that for sure. We could see maybe the Green Party, maybe the People's Party of Canada, maybe they get a bit more leverage. I'm not sure about that, but I can assure you that I could see Pierre Poilievre getting a huge win by majority of Canadians that are just fed up and disgusted by the Trudeau regime that has screwed them for the past decade now. So that's definitely could be a possibility of this prediction coming out. Number 5, Rachel Maddow becomes the first Blue Sky podcaster. So I make this as a joke because MSNBC is crumbling. MSNBC is going to be spun off. And now because because so many people, the kind of woke liberals, left X to go and form their own kind of application now, Blue Sky, social media network, I could just see potentially, maybe not Rachel Maddow per se, but I could see one of these kind of liberal establishment, corporate news personas, these talking heads, be one of the first people to implement a podcast or some sort of content creation on a platform like Blue Sky. I could see that happening because they want to reach out to a younger demographic. Younger people don't really care much for cable these days. Younger people can't really afford to pay $200 a month to watch Rachel Maddow 1 hour a week. So I could see maybe her or somebody else branching out to content creation. Probably not with X. Don Lemon tried to do it with X, then he left to go to YouTube. YouTube's turned out even worse for him. So I could see a lot of these people just, using Blue Sky as kind of their safety net for content creation, because a lot of the people on Blue Sky are kind of those people. Just saying. That could be a possibility. It's more of a joke, but could be a possibility. Number 4. Again, another one that's already pretty much come true and just going to happen anyway. Israel grabs land for the Greater Israel Project. It's already happening. We're seeing that with Syria. We're seeing that with Lebanon. We're seeing that with Gaza. We're seeing that all over the place. They're taking over the West Bank. And it's just going to continuously expand. And I would say even further than the Greater Israel Project. They're just doubling down, tripling down on as much militarized power they can to seize all this territory. Because these people, not the Zionists, the people that are responsible for the Greater Israeli Project, which is a geopolitical malfeasance to the rest of the world. It's basically an FU. We're superior to everybody else. They're just intending to grow as much as possible. And it's just kind of the same rhetoric and dialogue, the same momentum as sadly we saw in the 1930s and 40s with Germany. How they were trying to expand as much as possible. How they tried to, subvert the world by saying that they're the most superior race. They're a superior being. That's why we need the most space. We need more control. That's why we need more space so we can produce more superior outputs for the rest of the world. It just kind of seems the same verbiage. And it just seems to continue on. And I'm not trying to blackpill people by saying like the Free Palestine movements are useless. No, obviously continue with that fight. Obviously continue bringing that up constantly and highlighting that. But I'm just saying that with the amount that's entrenched with the APEC money, with the Mossad, with the blackmailing of other countries, with the just out much support of billionaires attached to this, the monarchy of the UK, just how much deeply corrupted the history of this, how much of a disgusting vitriol, the disgust of the whole story behind Israel and the disgust behind the whole story of Zionism. I have a feeling this is just going to happen regardless, sadly. And it doesn't give me any hope or sympathy, especially now, even people like Donald Trump that are just on board with this. They're just okay with this because he's just attached to whoever is the one that signed the check the most. And right now it's either Elon Musk or Muriel Adelson that's signing his campaign contribution. So it just seems to be, irregardless, it's just going to happen, sadly. Number 3, Olivia Chow will resign as Toronto mayor. This is kind of an interesting take of this because Toronto has experienced a lot of different dilemmas, not just with her, but the former mayor, John Tory, was again another predominant figure that just didn't really do much as well for the safety and security and the measures of most Torontonians. And I feel like this is kind of the same way. I feel like people that saw Olivia Chow were kind of in that honeymoon phase, that kind of honeymoon trench to think that, oh, this is the wife of the former late Jack Layton, the former NDP leader. And we liked what he said back in the day. Jack Layton was kind of those politicians that had the Bernie Sanders quality, and thought, hey, maybe that can come from the wife. Maybe we can transcend Jacqueline's power and abilities to someone like her. And then she got elected to become Toronto mayor, and it's not playing out. That honeymoon phase has kind of crumbled and over and slapped people in the face so hard, um, to the utmost scandals of what's been happening in Toronto, to even just the most ridiculous ideas. She was the one that wanted to implement like rainwater tax. That was the thing that she implemented, rainwater tax. So if you have storm sewage, if you have gates on your driveway or gates within your neighborhood, you'll be charged a tax. This is what she was implementing for using that storm sewer. It seems so crazy that they were implementing stuff on top of the mayhem and chaos that's already happening. So this could be a possibility. Number 2, this is kind of more for me, but I think in general, a huge bump in alternative media is going to happen. I think that with the distrust of the corporate media, the legacy media, and more of these podcasters like this, obviously this channel, I think there's going to be a huge bump in viewership and subscriptions, especially coming into an election year. That's usually a good sign for content creators, for political commentators. Even though we still have the kind of that dark cloud over us with censorship, with the C-63 bill and C-11 and C-19. That's censoring a lot of people, that's censoring our coverage, that's trying to clamp down on independent media because they want to silence misinformation, which we all know that's just a big stunt. So, regardless of all that, I think that maybe this year is going to be kind of a boost for that. We kind of saw that a little bit with the presidency race in the United States. I mean, look how Donald Trump went on to Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and all these different podcasts. He didn't go on to Fox News. He didn't go on to CNN to do any interviews with that, but he went right to podcasting. Why? Because more and more people are going towards that. So I think there's going to be a change dynamic that less people are going to, stick with traditional cable. There's more cable cutters out there and are just going to go towards this. So hopefully that'll be good for me. That'll be good for me in that front, but I think that'll be good for everybody in that. And finally, the number 1, drumroll please. This is maybe, possibly, if things don't turn around soon, I could see a prediction of another national protest breaking out, aka the next convoy generation. So I think that, especially now, coming with, all the absurdity behind, the parliamentary system with Justin Trudeau and the cabinet shuffle and just how much debt they're increasing, how much they're exploiting us, how much that they're penalizing ordinary Canadians after what we saw with the Freedom Convoy, after what we're seeing currently with these laws that are being passed, with the censorship tactics. And also, I think another key contributor is the cost of living is going to increase. So this little, we already discussed it, this little holiday, this tax holiday that people thought it was going to save them huge bucks. The politicians thought, oh, you're going to save so much at Christmas. It's actually just nothing. It's actually just nothing, and the worst is yet to come, because once that holiday is over, that's when the carbon tax increases. That's when cost of food is going to increase. We did that report that a family of 4, it's going to cost you $800 more to feed your family. So I see all that coming together for people to say, enough is enough. We're done with this crap. You are completely drying out this country. You are just leaving the Canadian populace hung out to dry. You don't give a damn, and it's the time to revolt. I could see that being implemented. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I think even if we had Pierre Poilievre, I've always stated this. that regardless of who's in office, I know people think that, just pure Polyev is going to solve everything. Don't get fooled by that. Because what we're witnessing right now in America is the exact same what's happening in Canada. That, oh, well, we just changed the leadership and then everything's going to be fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because the corruption runs deeper than just one individual party. It's the entire system that is screwed up. It's the entire system that is against us. It's the entire system that brings us people like Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, Dominic LeBlanc, Pierre Poilievre, all these individuals, all these people within this political system that's operating to serve globalist donors and not the whims of the people of Canada. So that's why, regardless of who's in office, regardless of that, I think it's inevitable that we still continue to fight the good fight. If that comes to a national protest, we'll wait and see. But that is my predictions for 2025 as this continues on. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes. Maybe we'll come back at the end of this year, at the end of 2025, and we'll do a tally on if I'm right or not. But that's just a little fun little thing we had there. We'll see what happens. Let's just see that. We'll see what happens.